The Galactic Council chambers fell silent when Ambassador walked through the massive doors. 12 alien species sat in their elevated seats, looking down at the small human woman with a mixture of curiosity and concern. The year was 2847, and humanity had been part of the Galactic Union for exactly 100 years. Elder of the Empire leaned forward, his 6 eyes blinking in sequence. His voice echoed through the chamber like thunder rolling across mountains. He had ruled his species for 300 years, and he had never trusted the humans. Not since the day they first appeared in the galaxy with their primitive ships and their strange habit of smiling even when facing death. Ambassador, said slowly, we have received disturbing reports. Your species has been observed constructing massive vessels in the Outer Rim territories, vessels that appear to be military in nature. This is a direct violation of Treaty 7742. Ambassador remained calm. She had expected this meeting for months. Behind her small frame and gentle face was a mind sharp enough to cut through steel. She clasped her hands behind her back and looked up at the towering alien without any trace of fear. Honored Elder, I believe there has been a misunderstanding. Humanity has not built a single warship. We have followed every letter of Treaty 7742 since the day we signed it. A ripple of disbelief moved through the council. The delegate, a being made of crystalline structures that shimmered with inner light, made a sound like breaking glass. This was their version of laughter. We have images, Ambassador. We have scanned your vessels. They carry weapons capable of destroying moons. They have shields that our best scientists cannot penetrate. They move faster than any ship in the known galaxy. If these are not warships, then what are they? Ambassador smiled. It was the kind of smile that made the older council members uncomfortable. They had learned over the past century that when humans smiled like that, something unexpected was about to happen. Those are cargo ships, she said simply. The chamber erupted in chaos. Delegates shouted over each other. Some laughed while others demanded explanations. Elder slammed his massive fist against his desk, calling for order. It took several minutes for the noise to die down. You expect us to believe, said through gritted teeth, that vessels armed with planet-cracking weapons are mere cargo ships. Yes, Elder, because that is exactly what they are. Ambassador raised her hand, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed a massive vessel, sleek and beautiful and terrifying all at once. The ship was 10 kilometers long, covered in what appeared to be armor plating, and bristling with devices that looked very much like weapons. This is the UES Persistent Hope, explained. It is classified as a heavy mining and resource transport vessel. Those weapons you see are actually mining lasers, designed to break apart asteroids for resource extraction. The shields are necessary to protect against debris during mining operations. The speed is required to make long-distance cargo runs economically viable. The delegate leaned forward, their crystalline body pulsing with angry red light. Mining lasers do not destroy military outposts, yet 3 months ago, a vessel matching this description obliterated a pirate base in the belt. The pirates attacked first, replied without hesitation. Our cargo vessel was simply defending itself. Treaty 7742 allows for defensive capabilities on civilian vessels. Elder studied the holographic display with growing unease. He had been alive long enough to recognize a loophole when he saw one. The humans had not violated the treaty. They had simply found a way around it that no one had anticipated. And the other vessels, he asked quietly, the ones your people call research stations. Another image appeared. This one showed a structure the size of a small moon, covered in sensor arrays and what appeared to be laboratory modules. But between those modules were openings that looked suspiciously like launch bays, and those sensor arrays could easily double as targeting systems. The Class Mobile Research Platform, said proudly. a vessel dedicated to the advancement of scientific knowledge. It carries no weapons whatsoever. The launch bays you see are for deploying research probes. The sensor arrays are for studying cosmic phenomena. And if those research probes happen to be armed, asked, they are not part of the station itself. They are independent vehicles, and Treaty 7742 only restricts military vessels, not independent research equipment. The chamber fell silent again. Every delegate understood what was happening. Humanity had spent 100 years being restricted from building a proper military. Other species had laughed at them, called them weak, even attacked their colonies knowing that humans could not fight back with anything more than basic defensive weapons. But humans had never stopped thinking. They had never stopped building. They had simply changed the labels on everything they created. The delegate, a being that resembled a giant spider with far too many eyes, spoke for the first time. Her species had always been neutral toward humans, watching them with scientific curiosity. How many of these cargo ships do you have, Ambassador? Smile widened. Currently, humanity operates approximately 12,000 heavy mining and resource transport vessels across our territories. We also have 47 mobile research platforms, 300 emergency medical response stations, and about 2 million independent research probes. The numbers hit the Council like a physical blow. The Empire, the most powerful military force in the galaxy, had only 8,000 actual warships. The humans, who had been forbidden from building military vessels, had somehow assembled a fleet larger than all Council species combined. "This is unacceptable," growled. "You have made a mockery of this Council and its treaties." "With respect, Elder, we have done no such thing. We have followed every rule you placed upon us. We simply used our creativity to protect ourselves within those rules. For 100 years, your people and others have attacked human colonies because you believed we were defenseless. Millions of our people died while this council debated whether to help us. We decided to help ourselves." The delegates shifted uncomfortably. Their species had been among those who raided human colonies for resources, believing the prey species could not fight back. "What do you want, Ambassador?" they asked. "You did not come here simply to show us your fleet." Lowered her hand, and the holographic display changed. Now it showed a star map, highlighting dozens of regions across the galaxy. Red markers indicated areas of conflict, pirate activity, and territorial disputes between species. Last week, the swarm emerged from the Dark Rim. They destroyed 4 outposts and 2 mining colonies. Intelligence suggests they have over 50,000 vessels and are heading deeper into Council space. You need help. His eyes widened. They were ancient enemies of all civilized species. They did not negotiate. They did not trade. They simply consumed everything in their path. "You offer assistance?" asked carefully. "Humanity offers more than assistance. We offer partnership. Our cargo ships, research stations, and medical vessels are ready to deploy wherever they are needed. All we ask in return is that Treaty 7742 be permanently revoked. Let us build real warships, Elder. Let us fight alongside you instead of hiding behind word games and legal loopholes." The council members exchanged glances. For 100 years, they had kept humanity restricted because they feared what humans might become. The young species was too aggressive, too unpredictable, too creative for comfort. But now that creativity had produced a fleet that could challenge any power in the galaxy, and that fleet was offering to help. Elder was quiet for a long moment. He thought about his people's history with humans. He thought about the swarm burning through the outer territories. He thought about what would happen if humanity decided to use their cargo ships against the Council instead of with it. "If we refuse," he said slowly, "what will humanity do?" Ambassador's expression did not change. "We will continue to protect ourselves with our civilian vessels. We will not attack any council member. We will simply withdraw from all galactic affairs and focus on our own territories. There will be your problem alone." It was not a threat. It was simply a statement of fact, and that made it even more terrifying. The voting took less than an hour. Treaty 7742 was revoked by unanimous decision. For the first time in 100 years, humanity was free to build whatever they wanted. 3 months later, the human fleet met the swarm at the Battle of Crimson Nebula. The cargo ships proved even more effective when they did not have to hide their true capabilities. The research stations deployed their probes, which turned out to be surprisingly good at destroying enemy vessels. The medical response stations provided support to damaged Allied ships from all species. When the battle ended, the swarm had been reduced to a fraction of its former strength. They retreated back into the Dark Rim and were not seen again for many generations. Ambassador stood on the bridge of the UES Persistent Hope as it returned home. Around her, the crew celebrated their victory. Behind the ship, a fleet of vessels from 12 different species flew in formation, something that had never happened in galactic history. Captain approached her with a glass of champagne. "You know, Ambassador, I still cannot believe that worked, convincing an entire galaxy that our battleships were cargo haulers." Accepted the glass and took a small sip. "It was not entirely a lie, Captain. These ships do carry cargo. Ammunition is cargo. Missiles are cargo. And the soldiers we transported to the front lines were simply passengers on a civilian vessel." Laughed. "Remind me never to play word games with a human diplomat." "The galaxy will remember this day," said, looking out at the stars. "They tried to limit us because they were afraid of what we might become. Instead, they forced us to become something even more dangerous. A species that can turn anything into a weapon. A civilization that thrives under restrictions because we simply refuse to accept them." Far away in the council chambers, Elder was already drafting new proposals. Not to restrict humanity again. He had learned that lesson. Instead, he was drafting proposals for alliance agreements, trade partnerships, and mutual defense pacts. The humans had proven something important. They had shown that creativity was the most dangerous weapon of all, and they had shown that underestimating humanity was the greatest mistake any species could make. As the Persistent Hope jumped into hyperspace, Ambassador allowed herself a moment of pride. Humanity had been forbidden from building warships, so they built something better. They built the unstoppable. And the galaxy would never forget it.